If you're a consultant, a coach, a fractional executive, you need exactly 5 SOPs to get started at being great. Not 50, right? Not a full operations manual, just 5. And these are the 5 that are going to cover 80% of your operational chaos. I'm going to tell you what they are, why each one matters, and give you the one-line version that you can write down right now. So why only 5? Well, most people here document your processes, which I say a lot, right? They think they need to map everything, but that's how SOPs die. You spend a weekend writing 20 documents, you use none of them, and you conclude that documentation doesn't work and is not necessary for your business. But it does work, and it is necessary. You just documented the wrong things first. And so these 5 SOPs are going to cover the moments where things actually break, right? Where the clients get lost or the quality slips and knowledge ends up vanishing and your week turns into a spiraling mess, right? But you fix these 5 things and everything else gets easier. So SOP number 1, the first 48 hours flow. For client onboarding, this is the most important SOP in your business. Those first 48 hours after someone pays you set the tone for the entire engagement, for the lifetime of the customer. So you get it right and they trust you. You get it wrong and they're already wondering if they made a mistake by giving you money. So here's what it covers, right? Everything from payment received to the kickoff call being completed. In a sense, it's payment hits, welcome email, intake form, kickoff scheduled, and then recap sent within 2 hours of that call being conducted. And the thing is, this is the SOP you'll delegate first. When you bring on someone else to the team, this is going to be one of the things that you hand off to them so that you can run off ahead and take care of the other elements of your business that are not as repeatably set in stone. And the failure mode that nobody thinks about is that you get the money from a client, but have they heard what they need to hear from you in the best manner within those next 3 days? This 48 hours of flow is what makes that possible. The other SOP that you need to think about is your weekly review protocol. This is the SOP that keeps your week from becoming reactive, right? Without it, you have guessing games on your Monday mornings, right? But with it, you start every week knowing exactly what needs attention. And so here's what it covers. A 30-minute weekly review of your pipeline, active projects, and upcoming commitments. In one line, it's on Monday morning, you review your pipeline, you check your active projects for blockers, and you confirm this week's scheduled deliverables. And it ends when you identify the one thing that matters most. After spending this time at a high level of reviewing, you get down to one execution point that gets you off and running. Most consultants won't lose clients for bad work, but because of what they don't do, right? The deliverable that slips by a day and an email that sat for too long, and weekly review kind of is a safety net that stops those things from lagging and becoming catastrophes. So 30 minutes every Monday as a non-negotiable. You review what's pending, what's active, what's due this week. And that's all there is to it. Your stopgap in your business. SOP number 3, right? This is about a quality gate such that nothing goes through a client without passing a checklist that enforces your company's standards. It's the final review before any deliverable leaves your hand. So before sending anything out externally, you check the accuracy, you check the formatting, you check the client-specific requirements that have been specified at the project level, you check the tone to make sure it makes sense, and then you hit send. This is how you beat degradation. Because without a checklist, your quality depends kind of on how you're feeling that day, right? You had a busy week, the corners get cut. A stressful month, standards end up slipping, and you don't even notice until somebody else says something when you're the boss. So with a checklist, you have consistent quality regardless of your bandwidth. client number 1 and client number 50 get the same standard. And it's not because you're a superhuman, it's just because you have a system that catches what your brain misses. So keep it short, 5 to 7 items. If it's longer, you probably won't use it. The next SOP that you need is the clean exit sequence. This is client offboarding. Nobody thinks about it, right? But that's a mistake. How you end an engagement determines whether they refer you, rehire you, or forget you. What it covers is everything from the final deliverable to that last touch point, right? The final deliverable is not where things end, right? Simply put, you deliver the last thing on the checklist, but you request feedback, right? You make sure you send that final invoice so that you end up getting paid. Take care of all that closing documentation and also have a follow-up built in, right? First, you got to be able to give yourself an opportunity to ask for referrals. This is the flywheel that can keep your business growing, right? And if you don't have an SOP for that process of how after you've done all this great stuff, you know how to handle and bask in that environment of greatness with your client, right? When you hand off this great stuff that you did for them, make sure that you do it with care. Package it properly so that it actually continues to be valuable and useful. It doesn't proceed to go collect dust, right? They'll remember you as the person that left things better than you found them, and that's rare. Right? And that gets you rehired, right? Failure mode would be if your engagement just ends, right? That final invoice, maybe a thanks, great working with you, and then silence, right? No feedback, right? No referral, no handoff. And so all that relationship equity just ends up getting wasted. How about this one, right? It's one that nobody has, and it separates good consultants from irreplaceable ones. This is about a running log of client intelligence that's updated after every interaction. In one line, right, after every call or meeting, log one personal detail, one preference, and one potential issue. Because 6 months into an engagement, you might remember that their CFO hates slide decks, right? Or that their Q3 deadline shifted because something changed in their board of directors, right? Or you recall that the last time you suggested a certain approach, they pushed back because they had a bad experience previously with something like that. Now, none of this is inside of a project management tool. It's not in your CRM. These details are in your head unless you log them. It's just 3 lines after every interaction. That's all. But over time, this becomes your most valuable asset, because you eventually bring on other consultants or hand off an account. This log is what makes the transition seamless instead of a catastrophe. This is the memory system that I keep telling you about. And it doesn't have to just be 3 lines, but make that the minimum standard. If you have an extended reflection, that's even better details to retain going forward. So start with that first 48 hours workflow. Write it this week. Use the template that I have here on my channel. The name, triggers, steps, failure modes, output, all in one page. The weekly review protocol, the pre-delivery checklist, the clean exit sequence, and the memory log. Because by then you'll have a habit of documenting things. 5 SOPs within 5 weeks, 1 per week. You don't have to rush it, right? And all 5 of these are included as pre-built templates in my SOP template bundle, which you can get a hold of at the link in the description. Or you can build them yourself right after you use the free scorecard to figure out what systems you need to work on the most in your business. So use those resources and be better.